In part 7 of the 2020 Canes opponent preview series, we're going to preview the North Carolina State Wolfpack, our opponent up in Raleigh, North Carolina on November 6th out of another bye week. Here's what you need to know about North Carolina State. On offense, 3 key things. All of a sudden, their offense just stalled. Don't understand why. This is an attack that had no problem going past 5,000 yards for 5 straight years under Dave Doran, flirting with 6,000 in 2018. It wasn't even close last year. They were next to last in the ACC in total yardage, 11th to be exact, and 12th in the conference in scoring. After scoring 28 points or more in 9 of the last 12 games 2 years ago, it was a 34-23 win over Ball State, was the only time in the last 10 games last year when the team scored more than 26. 2 problems: turnovers and a lack of passing efficiency. Matt McKay left for Montana State, but they get Devin Leary back after taking his lumps last year as a freshman. He only hit 48% of his passes for 1,219 yards and 8 touchdown passes last year, and also had 5 interceptions. And Bailey Hockman, 6'2", 208 pounds, hit 56%, throwing for 546 and 1 touchdown, but had 4 interceptions. Look for Leary to win the starting job up in Raleigh. The running backs were really green. They had 3 freshmen and 1 sophomore, and all are back. Sonovan Knight led the team with 745 yards and 5 touchdowns. Sophomore Jordan Houston was a guy that was second on the team with 526 and 2 touchdowns. And 6'1", 220-pound Ricky Person Jr. is back after missing half the season with an ankle injury. He ran for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. The offensive line you can't blame as a huge part of the problem. The problem was they weren't consistent. They get most of their starters back. Josh Fed Jackson's in the portal, but there's hope for even stronger season on the other 4 parts. They do lose Tabari Hines in the receiving core, but they get everyone else back. If the quarterback play is better, 6'3", 210-pound senior Emeka Emezi could be one that could really do some damage. He had 56 catches last year, but nothing when they stretch it down the field. That's not his game. He's more possession receiver. Another big target is 6'4" sophomore Devin Carter, and he was second on the team with 456 yards. And Thayer Thomas, who was a small quick receiver, could do a lot more than 31 catches. And you throw in an all-ACC tight end and Carrie Angeline at tight end, and there's a lot more to like there. Let's look at the defense, though. Now, the defense was okay, and the pass defense got a good rushing. But it was way too much and hard through the air. And they couldn't catch any sort of breaking on the injury front. Though they get 9 of their top 12 tacklers back. And it's led by a promising linebacking core that should really do some damage. It starts with Brock Miller, but he left for Boise State. But they get Peyton Wilson back, as well as Isaiah Moore, after having 69 and 53 tackles respectively. And you throw in 223-pound Louis Asias, who was a tackling machine before he got hurt in the second half of 2019. The linebacking core is going to be one to really reckon with there. That line is going to need work. They lose Larrell Mutchinson at 1 tackle, and the depth took a big hit with players going into the portal for them. But they get Penn State star recruit Daniel Joseph in on one side, likely across from Ibrahim Kante, who's a 6'2", 315, who is 6'2", They also get back 315-pound Aleem McNeil on the inside. He did a good job getting to the QB, and he'll rotate nicely with a former JUCO transfer, Val Martin. That secondary's got to be stronger. Now, it could tackle, there's no question. But they had, are you ready for this? A grand total of 2 interceptions. And both came from senior quarterback Chris Ingram. They get Tanner Engel back, who had 68 tackles, but they lose Jarius Moorhead, and corner Keyshawn Miller is a problem. Even for the nation's 103rd ranked pass defense. That's pitiful. They can only go nowhere but up. Now, when you look at their best players is Donovan Knight. Now, you could throw in all the backs there, but it's by committee. And he's their best. The best offensive player is when Ricky Person Jr. is healthy. Jordan Houston and Trent Pennick form a nice backfield. But Knight is the guy they're going to really look to. After coming off, like I said, a 745-yard, 5-touchdown season, and they had 300-yard games. Now, he's 6 foot, 197 pounds, and he came up big as a true freshman. And he can only get better as the season goes on. He'll be able to get 10 or more carries a game. But he'll have to share the workload with the other backs I mentioned earlier. The rest of their best players are Kerry Angeline, place kicker Christopher Dunn, Emeka Emezi, and Ricky Person. Their best defensive player, Tanner Engel, who's a junior. Though you can make a case for Aleem McNeil if he can build on last year as a pass rusher. But Engel should be their top all-around playmaker for a secondary that needs more big plays. Although he's 5'10", 188 pounds, he can hit from the free safety position. And he had 68 tackles last year. He was leading the teams in stops before missing the final game, but he's not afraid to really get physical. Also, they have Peyton Wilson, their punter Trenton Gill, Asias, and more. This is a pretty nice group to watch here. But now when we look at the keys to the season, they have to stop turning the ball over. They have to get stronger in the passing game downfield. And they've got to come down with more third downs and convert in those situations. Simply put, they got to score more points. In the Ball State game they won, they had 2 interceptions. They didn't give the ball away the first 3. Then, of course, they got picked off twice in the win against Ball State. They lost 2 fumbles and losing to FSU. They had just 6 turnovers in their first 8 games. Then it all fell apart. They lost their last 6 games. Why? Because they had 15 turnovers in their last 5 games. That's not going to work. Now, they had the offense to get away with it the past few years. But last year it caught up with them. Their row should be better, but they can't keep screwing up. The other side, the biggest key, they got to start forcing turnovers, force takeaways. They have to do far more against the great passing teams and even the decent passing teams. They need more of a pass rush, but they've got to start generating big plays. Only 2 teams failed to come up with at least 10 takeaways. Kansas came up with 8, and so did NC State. While the D took the ball away twice in the opener against East Carolina, it generated 1 takeaway in each of the next 3 games. Then, in their last 6 games, 0 takeaways. There were 3 in the final 2 games, but they didn't matter. They lost both to G Tech and Carolina. There was just 1 interception over the final 8 games, and there weren't any fumble recoveries in 9 of their last 12. The team was getting used to getting the ball back from the D at least 20 times, 19 of those in 2018, in every year after forcing 39 in 2011. Okay? They've got to attack the ball. The key player for a successful season, it's got to start at quarterback with Devin Leary. They need more from him. He wasn't a huge recruit. But I got to tell you, accuracy's been a big issue. But he threw for 12-19, like I said, and 8 touchdowns with 5 picks. If he's not it, and if he's not a whole lot better, ouch, it could be another long year in Raleigh. The key game will be early in the year from them. It's September 12th at V-Tech. The faster it can get the taste of the back half of 2019 out of its mouth, the better. But to do it on the road against V-Tech would be a big shot in the arm. You win that game, and the schedule shouldn't be too much of an issue. But more than that, simply put, they got to win. They got to win. Now, my prediction for wins this season for them, it's going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back. The win, I'm going to say six wins for Carolina State this year. Six win team for them. That's my prediction. In part 8 of the opponent preview series, I'm going to preview the Virginia Tech Hokies.